Today we are going to take a quick look into the future of the Major League Baseball season, according to Fangraphs, USA Today, ESPN, MLB.com. A couple of places, it's all going to be nonsense, but it'll be fun to talk about anyway. But I should start by saying last time I asked you all 4 questions, and you guys have been responding. They've been so much fun to read. I wanted to know if you guys thought we should trade for Charlie Blackmon, and then to actually propose a trade. It's been fun because people have been split on it. People have been putting together some really interesting trade ideas. I will be doing a video just about that in the future. I think I've only gotten 1 or 2 on just other trade ideas that you guys have. Number 3, overwhelmingly, 100%. You guys have accurately, in my opinion, said Trevor Bauer is a great pitcher, but come on, $102 million for 3 years, and he can opt out after just year 2 of it. It seems like White Sox fans, at least those of you who enjoy this channel, are in 100% unanimous decision. We don't want Trevor Bauer for that much, so we can just remove that. And then if you have any bold predictions, this has been the most fun. If you've left a comment, thank you so much. I still want to give a little bit more time for other people to chime in before I do a video about that, which will come out during spring training. Now, to respond to a couple of other comments, Hiram Noon commented, among his other comments was, I wouldn't be too cocky about winning the division. That is in response to the previous video where I was explaining what a bold prediction was, and I said that's not a bold prediction, assuming that we are going to win the division. I'm a 40-year-old White Sox fan. If you see these gray hairs, it's because I have been watching the White Sox my whole life. And really, it's been because of the Twins. I have seen the White Sox lose leads late in the season. Winning the division is never something that I would take for granted. Now, I do believe still that we will win the division, but it's going to be a long season and a tough season. And the White Sox have an amazing roster, but we're pretty thin still at the starting pitcher position. So if somebody goes down with injury, it's going to make this a very long and difficult season. So no, I'm not taking it for granted. I'm not cocky. I'm having fun when it comes to believing that we will win the division. And Ross0527 wants to know if I have any thoughts on the new ball that will be in play this season. From what I heard about it, the core of it is a little bit squishier, a little bit dampens the impact. It won't bounce as much, whether it's on the field or coming off the bat. The early numbers are insinuating that some of those balls that made it out last year, just barely getting over the wall, will die on the warning track this year. Fortunately, as far as White Sox fans are concerned, we have the likes of Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert, Yasmani Grandal, Jose Abreu. Those guys hit home runs that went way out of the field. The only reason I have a problem with it is that baseball is in a constant struggle to find and retain new fans. So the only thing I see changing is that there's going to be fewer home runs hit. The early guesses are that it won't affect strikeouts at all. Strikeout numbers will be just as high as they have been. Home runs will be down a little bit. Theoretically, it makes the game not as exciting. The other side of that concept is that, well, okay, if it's harder to hit a home run, maybe guys will be swinging for contact more than they'll be swinging for the home run. Which could make more action overall. Maybe the idea is that home runs are exciting for a second, but they're ultimately kind of boring. If this changes the mentality of the hitters, so they're not going for the home run as much, will we end up with more action overall? The biggest changes in the game need to be how the league markets its players and celebrates its own players, creates celebrities out of these 25, 26 guys on the field. So I think the idea of changing the ball is not really getting at the core of the problem that baseball has when trying to attract new audiences. Okay, so I do have some minor White Sox notes. Then we're going to take a look at the top 100 prospects list. And then finally, we're going to take a look at the projections. And I have not seen the projections yet when it comes to how many games each team in Major League Baseball will win. So you'll see kind of a live hot take from me. Before we get into that, I forgot last time, I kind of went over some news around the league, and I really missed something that I think will end up being, unfortunately for White Sox fans, a big impact in Minnesota, and that is the signing of Andrelton Simmons. The previous video, I talked about Nelson Cruz and Alex Colomé being positive but not groundbreaking additions to the team. Andrelton Simmons playing in the field for the Twins is really going to help out their pitching staff. Now, it's true, he's a veteran. He's been around for a while, and last season his defensive grades weren't spectacular, but it was a shortened season, and this guy just has a track record of being one of, if not the best defender in baseball. I think the Twins made a great signing by picking up Andrelton Simmons. There was a recent piece by Scott Merkin this past week that mentioned that Carlos Rodon right now is basically penciled in, and it's assumed that he'll be the 5th starter. That is a little bit troubling as far as I'm concerned. For one, I really do hope that the White Sox still go out and pick up somebody like a Jake Odorizzi, some other starting pitching depth. But beyond that, I don't think that there's any reason the White Sox should be right away handing Carlos Rodon the 5th starter spot. And really, I would assume that spring training will be an open competition between him and Ronaldo Lopez, and again, I hope one other starter, and maybe it's Jonathan Stever or some other minor leaguer that comes up and, wow, has grown a lot in the offseason. Rodon's coming off of injury. There's so many reasons to feel optimistic, but cautious when it comes to Carlos Rodon. We'll see. Another interesting thing came out from the same article, which I will link to in the description here, and that is that Johnathan Lucroy is being considered the backup catcher already. Now, he signed just a minor league deal, so of course he will have to be added to the 26-man roster, and I don't know why that is just an automatic given. He's up there in age. He's got some miles on him. I'm always optimistic. I'm always hopeful for everybody the White Sox sign, but it seems that it's Zack Collins' turn to finally get those reps and to show us what he's made out of. Is he a major league catcher? And let's find out. According to the same piece, Collins is still assumed that he will make the opening day roster, being cycled through a little bit as backup catcher, while also picking up some reps at DH. This is the fun part of spring training. Things are still up in the air, and there's always a chance somebody like a Yermin Mercedes, who I know some of you are huge fans of, will come in and just put on such a great show that the White Sox can't keep him down in the minors, that he will finally get his chance at playing in the bigs. On that note, let's take a quick look. Now, I'm not going to dive into this too much because I really want to revisit these ideas when MLB.com comes out with their list of the top 30 White Sox prospects. They haven't done that yet, but we will take a look at the top 100 prospects as defined by MLB.com, but then also as ESPN recently put out. And right away, the White Sox have to be pretty happy that MLB.com lists 4 White Sox within the top 56 players in all of baseball and all of the minor leagues. So that is starting out in a good spot. Between the number 1 and number 56 spot, the White Sox are in there 4 times. Unfortunately, we are not in there at all after number 56. As a footnote, Dane Dunning, former White Sox, is in there at number 91 according to MLB.com. The first White Sox on the list is Garrett Crochet, who makes an appearance at number 56. That's a little surprising to me. I feel like he has shown at the major league level that he is a dominant pitcher. That said, we know he left that playoff game with an injury. Maybe it's because there's questions over how healthy he is, and will those questions turn into bigger concerns in the future? Right now, Garrett Crochet absolutely belongs on this list. I could see him being much higher. Next is Nick Madrigal, which is always funny to me because he seems like he's such a part of this team already, that how is he still considered a prospect? But really, he only got about a month's worth of at-bats last year. 40 seems like a decent place. Nicky is a guy that I could see him making some all-star teams in his life, but more in the mold of a Tony Gwynn than a Barry Bonds, for sure. Right next to him on the list is Michael Kopech at 39. Now, Kopech has dropped considerably. He was a top 5, I think, person in the past. The questions have to be about coming back from injury. He's had a Tommy John surgery. So has Dane Dunning, for that matter. And coming back from that injury is never a guarantee. So spring training is going to be very interesting to observe for a number of cases. At the top of MLB's list, as far as the White Sox are concerned, is Andrew Vaughn at number 14. He's a guy who is considered close to being major league ready, even though he hasn't really had very much time in the minor leagues. And that, of course, is because COVID removed the minor league season last year. But he is still an exciting person with a lot of upside. Now let's compare these to ESPN. Garrett Crochet, he's down at just 69th place. And even their write-up doesn't really explain why they have him so low. I'd really have him up much higher. Very similar, Madrigal is number 42 on ESPN's list compared to 40 on MLB.com. Michael Kopech is a little bit higher. He is 24th place compared to 39th on MLB. And they are really excited about Andrew Vaughn. They have him all the way up in 8th place. They consider him a top 10 prospect. I'm not putting any stock at all, really, into prospect rankings this time around. Scouts did not get to see these young guys develop and see if they took the next step or not. A lot of these guys didn't play at all last year, and the minor leaguers who were active last year were just at teams' alternate training sites, which were very closed doors. Scouts from other teams and from the media in general really just didn't get a chance to see these guys. I'm excited about updated prospect rankings after spring training once the season begins, when we finally actually get a good taste for what these guys are up to. Now let's consult with the oracles of Major League Baseball and see who is going to make the playoffs, and how many wins each team is going to get. According to Fangraphs, the East will be easily won by the Yankees. Understandable. Blue Jays fans might be a little bit upset with this prognostication that the Jays will only win 87 games next year. It's a decent number, but still, they made a lot of big changes and upgrades in the offseason. In the Central, the Twins are favored to have 89 wins, while the White Sox have 88. When you are looking at a 162-game season to be separated by just one win, you could just call that a coin toss. Now, I obviously definitely believe in the White Sox. I believe that the White Sox will have a better year than the Twins. So, of course, I would flip-flop it. And to be honest with you, I think the White Sox will win over 90 games next year. So, if the Twins win 89 games and the White Sox win in the 90s, I'm very happy with that. Finally, in the American League West, they have the Astros winning 88 to 89 games, pretty easily beating the Angels, who will finish above 500, which is not always a given considering them. So this, just looking around baseball, sets the two wildcard teams as the White Sox and the Blue Jays, with the Red Sox just missing out and Mike Trout again going home without an at-bat in the playoffs. In the National League, they have the Mets winning 91 to 92 games ahead of the Braves at 89 wins. And apparently they're not very confident in the fact that the Marlins made the playoffs last year. They're only giving them 70 wins next year, 92 losses. Wow. That's pretty insulting. Hard to vote against the Mets because not only have they added so much to their team, but we know that their owner has the deepest pockets in all of baseball. So if they need to go out and pick up somebody's bad contract, but a guy who can still play, they'll be able to go out and get him no problem. They do have the Cardinals winning, but it's basically a toss-up between the Cardinals and the Brewers. I'm surprised at that. Cubs finishing, actually they have everybody at 500 or below in the National League Central. And I do know that the NL Central is one of the weaker divisions in baseball, but with the pickup of Nolan Arenado, I really thought they would have put the Cardinals at least over 85 wins. Especially after the Trevor Bauer pickup, probably the safest, easiest bet to make. The Dodgers winning 99 games and easily winning the West 4 games ahead of the San Diego Padres, who are easily the top wildcard seed ahead of the Braves. I think these are all safe bets, that your playoff teams out of the National League are Mets, Cardinals, Dodgers, Padres, Braves. That just makes a lot of sense. No real big surprises on there. I do know their model really fights against great teams or really bad teams. They never project, I shouldn't say never, but they rarely ever project any team to hit 100 wins or 100 losses. So everybody is kind of squeezed in, and that makes these races look a bit tighter than they will finish. Let's see, who is favored to have the worst record in baseball? Got the Rockies at 94, 95 losses, Pirates 97 losses. Orioles, well, I guess that's another easy guess. 99 losses for the Orioles projected. We will go to USA Today, which I have not seen these yet. These guys are going off of an aggregate of their baseball writers. 6 people, average it down. They do have the Yankees beating the Rays. How did the Rays do? I did not give the Rays enough attention. Wow. Fangraphs is thinking the Rays will only win about 82 games. They're going to be a roughly 500 team. And even though they won the pennant last year, they're not going to make the playoffs this year, according to Fangraphs. Of course, they don't have Blake Snell anymore, but they still have their core in place. Unlike Fangraphs, USA Today believes in the Rays a bit more. They've got them in second place ahead of Toronto. In the Central, they believe in the White Sox, 89 wins, 2 better than Minnesota, ahead of Cleveland. And there's KC, Detroit. And in the West, Houston's still winning it. Oakland in second place. Now, Fangraphs had Oakland lower. Yeah, Fangraphs has the A's at just 81 or 82 wins. And according to this layout, the Tampa Bay Rays would be the top wildcard team, and there would be a game 163 between the Twins and the Blue Jays to see who makes it in. That would be exciting. In the National League in the East, they have Atlanta beating the Mets, 93 wins to 86. Impressive. And still Miami all the way at the bottom there. In the Central, St. Louis with 90 wins. That's much more bullish. I would see that. Man, that's even a little high for me. I was trying to give them more before. Now I'm saying, well, walk it back a little. Brewers at 83. Cubs at 82. I do think the Cubs will have a bounce back year. And wow, Pittsburgh, brutal. 57 wins, 105 losses there. Calling Detroit for 101 losses, by the way, as well. Detroit's made some sneaky good moves in this postseason. Small things, but And of course, they've got some really exciting, unfortunately exciting young prospects that are up. They'll be playing this year. And wow, they don't think it's going to be all that close in the West with the Dodgers with 105 wins to San Diego's 95. 95 is still great, but 10 games back of the Dodgers. So USA Today would have San Diego with the number 1 wildcard spot, which is a very safe bet, and the New York Mets with the number 2 wildcard spot. Finally, we're going to go to Pacoda through baseballprospectus.com. In the East, they have the Yankees winning it over the Rays. Again, really, it's just Fangraphs. That's not a big fan of the Rays this year. Toronto at 85 wins. In the Central, they are picking the Twins with 90 wins to the White Sox. Oh, wait, what? Third place for the White Sox? All right, we got issues here, Baseball Prospectus. All right, Minnesota with 90 wins. Cleveland, 85. Why? How? What? And the White Sox with 83 wins, and then a big chasm before we get down to Kansas City and Detroit. So, Cleveland with 85 wins? After Lindor, after Clevenger? Cleveland always deserves respect. They've got Jose Ramirez, a guy that I could argue should have won MVP last year. I love that Jose Abreu won it, but, you know, Ramirez was right there. They always have great pitching. You got Bieber, Plesac. They've got so much going for them. But at the same time, they've got so much going against them as well. I really do like a couple of the lower profile pickups that the Indians got this year, which is Eddie Rosario and Cesar Hernandez. Those guys are sneaky good, and those will be those types of thorns in the side of the White Sox this coming year. But there is just not enough on the Cleveland team for me to see 85 wins, even being above 500. If somebody placed them as a 500 or slightly below team, I could see that. I could understand that. So Fangraphs has them at 80, 81 wins. USA Today has them at 82 wins. Yeah, that seems to make sense to me. 85. And I know I'm splitting hairs. 3 wins. How big of a difference is that? It could be the difference of playoffs or not. I'm kind of at a loss for that one. Anyway, moving on, because I have to eventually. In the West, everybody's picking Houston to win it, 91, 92 wins. Angels at 86, and then Oakland. They're pretty pessimistic about them finishing under 500 this year. So this arrangement would have the Tampa Bay Rays at the number 1 wild card spot, and then really close between Cleveland and the Angels. And the White Sox are not in the conversation. In the NL East, they've got the Mets winning it with about 94 wins ahead of the Nationals, 85. Atlanta slipping down to 82. They're controversial here. Everybody is hating on Miami, though. Just 69 wins. In the Central, now I don't know what the hell's going on. Milwaukee, and I like Milwaukee a lot. I love the Brewers, but 88 wins, beating the Cubs by about 3 wins, and about 7 or 8 ahead of the Cardinals, who are under 500. All right, Cardinals fans, what do you think about this one? Because I am not buying any of this either. The Dodgers are favored to win 104 wins. Again, a nice big chasm of about 9 wins better than the San Diego Padres. And then Arizona, Frisco, and Colorado. Why are the Giants not selling off, by the way? They've got no chance to compete, and they've got a very expensive team. By the way, speaking of expensive teams, the opposite of that. The Indians. Right now, the Indians' opening day payroll is $49 million. 49. Unbelievably low. The White Sox are in the 120s. The Twins are right behind the White Sox at about 128, 127. And we're in the middle of the pack. I can't believe Cleveland only has a payroll of about $49 million. So, yeah, this will be a really fun one to look at in October. It might even be silly to look at by the All-Star game to see how far off or how accurate some of these projections are. The thing I love is that there is some differences here. There are teams that make it in one that don't make it in another. There are teams that easily win in one and don't even make the playoffs in another. I didn't think I'd have actually this much reaction in this reaction video. Anyway, what do you guys think? I really don't think it makes any sense to make all of these predictions until after spring training. A lot can happen when the games don't even count yet in March. Please do keep commenting, answering those questions, especially your bold predictions. And what do you think about Charlie Blackmon? Should there be another trade the White Sox are looking at? As always, go White Sox, and thanks for watching.